welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a couple things I'm going to do to the Gladiator. I've got right here in this box is a tonneau cover from Back Industries. It's a hard rolling cover, so we're going to throw that on the truck bed. So yeah, let's get into the video, start unboxing this stuff. So in here, looks like we've got some weather stripping material, like the tracks for the to go on the bed, and then the cover itself. Nothing over there, so it should be fairly simple, I think. We'll see if we can find some instructions in here. We will get started. All right, so in this yellow parts bag, we've got some kind of weather stripping, some rubber tubes, 4 sections. We've got the straps for when it's rolled up. They clip it so it stays rolled up up by your front, back window. Some more weather stripping. Bag of hardware, and a smaller bag of hardware. Also in that bag were the instructions. All right, so I've gone ahead and pulled out the materials from the bag, as well as the 2 side rails. You got a left and a right. So I got unwrap those, and we're gonna look at the instructions here. Step 1 is on the front page, talks about bulk seal installation. So these first couple steps are all basically figuring out what kind of truck bed you're working with. So whether you have a drop-in bed liner or a spray-in bed liner like I have, or no bed liner. So that's what these first few steps are. For if you have a drop-in, you have to cut out different sections so that the hardware can mount. You can see up there some mounting holes. So you have to make sure and check on which kind you have, as well as step 5 over here. You can see a round hole versus kind of a hexagon hole, which is the kind that I have. So we're gonna look over these instructions real quick, and we're gonna see what we need to do. Okay, so on step 4 here, rail installation prep, it's showing that you need to make sure you have these exposed, these bolt holes. And when I was looking for mine, because I couldn't see them, they're right here, and whoever owned this truck before me just covered them up with some black duct tape. I don't think that's from factory. I'm guessing they did it to make it blend in with the black, rather, because this is body color, which is the green. So make sure you got those holes cleared out, both sides. Okay, upon further review, this is why you read the instructions. On this, on step 5, you identify which hole you have, the circle or the hexagon, like I talked about earlier. And once you identify that, you'll see these little letters underneath the different steps. So I was following step A like a dingus. You flip over, you'll see step B. So I'm gonna go ahead and undo what I did on the side rails. I just screwed 2 things in, and we're gonna go ahead and start from step 6 for B. All right, so next step is to take these jack nut and this bolt, and on the top hexagon shaped hole, take your jack nut, and I will mention in the instructions it says you might have to take your knife and carve out some of the spray-in bed liner material along the inside of that hole. So that's what I had to do. Otherwise it's too tight for this jack nut to fit in there. So then once you do that, you can shove your jack nut in. Might take a little bit. And then you take your tool here and make sure that there's raised bumps around the hole. You want to make sure that those raised bumps are up against the nut. Take your bolt, close it through, and then this installation tool is to hold it in place while you tighten this bolt down. You take your wrench, and you finish tightening it all the way. All right, once you got it tightened down all the way, just untighten it. Start pulling it back out. So essentially what you're doing is making that jack nut compress. It has little folds that come out and it'll stick behind here. So it'll come out across the hole like that and holds it into place. So once you got that side done, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. All right, so next step, we're gonna take the ones that I accidentally installed earlier, and we're gonna install them onto these side rail pieces again. So you're gonna take your button screw with the oversized washer, and then that's gonna go in to the side rail. And you're gonna have your regular washer, and then you're gonna have your well nut on the other end. So that's gonna go in here like this. Make sure you're putting it in the bottom hole, not the top hole like it is. All right, now for the next step, we gotta flip these back around. We'll open up this pack, which has these thick spacers, and an Allen wrench in it. So you've got M6 screw and washer, and that's gonna go in to these, can you see that? These side holes right here. There you go. Then you're gonna take one of these spacers. You're gonna take one of these nylon washer. You're gonna shove that on. You're gonna do that for both holes on both rails. All right, so the next step, I'm gonna take this rail, lay it on the edge here, and you're gonna come up to the front, and that well nut that we installed earlier, is a guide, and you slide that right into the bottom hole. And then you come to the back, and these other two screws that we installed earlier are going to line up with those holes that we exposed. For me, they were underneath duct tape. You're going to take this Torx key and just loose, we're going to take and we're going to start tightening them up. All right, very tedious. We got it done. All right, so now I'm gonna just go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. I also forgot to mention there's a On the front of this bracket here, that butts up against the bulkhead, there's little pieces of foam. So if you have a bed liner, you don't need that foam on there. So the instructions tell you to go ahead and peel that off. Alright, so the next step is to take your bolt that you used earlier to put the jack nut in. You're going to put that in to the washer on this top hole. And so the reason that we left those back two screws loose is so that we can tighten this one up first. I'm using a 7/16 ratchet. You can also use 11mm, I think. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do that on the other side. And once that's done, we get to go ahead and keep tightening down these Allen screws. Or not Allen, sorry, Torx. All right, so step 13 is to take the cover, the actual roll. We're gonna set it up on top, right towards the back here. All right, and then once you've got it up here, you can cut off plastic. All right, so once you've got the plastic off, you can just roll it forward towards the front of the truck. All right, then you're gonna take your other baggie of mounting hardware, come around to the front here. All right, so then the mounting bolts will slide into these two tracks right here. You just want to roll this closed. And make sure that the bolts align. Like that. So, if you remember earlier, looking at the instructions, step 1 was to put on this bulkhead seal, which I forgot to do because I misunderstood. It said if you have a drop-in bed liner, you don't need to install this. It's just a piece of foam. See, it's just a piece of foam with a sticky side. And so you just want to put that down along the bulkhead, along the back of your back window. So I already have all this stuff installed, so what I did was I just shoved it up underneath. Got it stuck down pretty good. And I'm just gonna call that good. Don't be like me. Install this first, it'll be a lot easier. All right, once you've got your bolts lined up on the rail under here, you wanna make sure so you can roll up the cover from the back. Roll it up towards the front, and you want to make sure that the vinyl cover is aligned with the edge of the rail on both sides. All right, once everything's lined up, you can come underneath and you can take these bolts and you're gonna take a rubber washer and then a metal washer. You're gonna put them up just like that. On here. And you're gonna take one of the nylon locking nuts. You can thread that on. You're gonna do that on all 4, 2 on each side. All right, then you take your ratchet. It's 1/2-inch bolts. You want to install these loosely for now. All right, just like that. So now that they're on loosely, you can just roll this back and forth a couple times, make sure that everything lines up correctly on the edge here. Make sure everything works smoothly. And then once you verify that, we're gonna line up the vinyl edge up front again, and then we're gonna tighten these down all the way. All right, so I got my cover rolling freely, and the instructions say right here between the rail and the guides here that get locked by the locking mechanism, you want about an 1/8 inch gap right there where you see my shadow pointing. So what happens is the cover will push down on these slam latches, they call them. Pushes down on those, and that metal piece rolls out, and it'll hook on to the inside of these little pieces you can see in there. This is where the gap is. So that's why you want to make sure it's even on both sides so that those can both come out, and that's what makes this tonneau cover so secure. That and these metal frame rails that go all the way along it. So make sure everything's lined up. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten down these bolts on both sides, and that should be it, and we'll see how she operates. Alrighty, so we're in the home stretch here. Got the bolts tightened up front, tested the cover, it rolls smoothly open and closed. And so the last two things are we need to install these rubber spacers, and we're also gonna attach these straps to the top of the cover there. So they wrap up and they hold it in place. So we're gonna do those two steps, and then we should be good to go. All right, so if you want to install the strap, retaining strap, make sure it's lined up. So this part is gonna go up front. So you want it nice and flat like this, and you're just gonna take this part. I think you can ignore the mounting hardware that was on it. Maybe that's for a different model truck. But in the instructions it says you can just put this on this far back bolt. So it'll go rubber washer, steel washer, the strap, another steel washer, and then a nut. So I'm gonna go ahead and install these on both sides. All right, the instructions say not to tighten them too tight. You want to hand tighten them, and you don't want to use any power tools on these bolts underneath. So I've got that in there nice and hand tight. So you can pull this, give it some slack. And then when you come up under here, you turn it sideways. And you can turn it again, and then pull it tight. So now it can't roll forward. And it shouldn't be able to roll, sorry, it can't roll backwards, and it shouldn't be able to roll forwards either. Speaking of, I got the bumpers on, and it doesn't look like, unless you push really hard, these are gonna come anywhere near touching the glass, but maybe other models of truck are more prone to this being close to the glass. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the strap on the other side, and then we will be done. All right guys, so that is the install video for a Back Industries Revolver X4S rolling hard tonneau cover. So you get the benefits of a hard cover as well as the benefits of a rolling cover. A lot of the hard ones are tri-folds, and then they're sticking up in front of your rear glass. They can get in the way of other things that you're putting in your truck bed. But they are nice because they're harder to get into. Now this has the best of both worlds because you can roll it up, get it out of the way nice and neat, but it's also a hard cover. It is more expensive because of that reason. But it is very nice quality materials for what I've seen so far. Pretty easy install, 2 hours. The hardest part is fine tuning it to fit exactly on the sides, as well as getting it centered so that it's not catching on the sides, and so that it latches in each of the corners properly. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead, give it a like, maybe subscribe, see the other things I'm gonna work on here in the future. With that, peace.